Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Silver. Our guest today is my good friend, the professor of chemistry at Cornell University, Dave Collum. Welcome back, sir.
How you doing, Ivan?
I'm doing really good. I'm super glad to have you back on to Wall Street Silver. I just wanted to talk to you and bring you on and talk about the economy, gold, silver, and all the chaos that's happening in the world and everything that's breaking out in the Middle East. Where do you see all this conflict that's breaking out in the Middle East, and how will it affect the global economy in general, Dave?
Well, there's so many unknowns; it's hard to say. So, if there's the what happens if it just lurks and it just sits there as a risk, kind of in the background, versus what happens if we end up in a thermonuclear war, which I'm sure CNBC has an opinion about. Um, I would have to say that what actually scares me the most about what's going on in the Middle East is the idea of it spreading. And so I'm as I told you before, and I said on Twitter, I don't intend to get engaged in the debate about guilt and innocence and morality and stuff on this topic, even though I have obviously very strong opinions.
Right.
Um, but but what I do know is if it gets outside that region, and that region is, I think it's likely to include Iran soon. That would be my guess. I
Yeah,
think
absolutely.
that's the plot line. Um, if it spreads, and it's kind of wars are emergent, so they can spread unpredictably. That then all bets are off. I'd buy gold, right? I'd buy silver. Buy MREs, you name it. Yeah, rice in the basement.
Oh, for
By
sure.
the way, I am a prepper. I think people should have, if you've got a house, you've got space, you should have a couple 100 pounds of rice. You don't
I
want to
agree.
be gnawing your arm off because you save $50 on rice.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Dave. And you're seeing that a lot of people online are talking about what happens to the US dollar, what happens to the banking system if there's, now that there's putting funding to you, they've been putting funding to Ukraine to support them. Let's say next they start putting more funding into the Middle East to fight those battles. What happens to the US dollar, the US economy? There's already crazy amount of debt, 33, 32 trillion, and the interest or the debt servicing on that 32, 33 trillion is almost just the interest alone is going to be reaching the military spending. So how unsustainable is this?
It's totally unsustainable. It and then the question is, how will it end? And the answer is, I don't know. It's sort of like
Right.
looking at an avalanche in training, right? And you're going, that sucker's going to fall one of these days, or sitting on the San Andreas Fault, it's going to go, but you don't know when. And so and I did a podcast yesterday actually with a guy. We couldn't quite connect because he kept saying, well, but it's done so well till now. And I go, but that is till now. And we're sitting here on this unbelievably metastable precipice where it feels like that it could just release us and drop us. And so I'm giving a talk this month entitled, they'll give you an idea where my head is at, entitled "A Case for a Multi-Decade Bear Market." So I think
Wow.
we're heading for a period of protracted water treading. We'll go up and down, of course, and traders who are nimble and who profess to know what they're doing will do fine. But collectively, the entire market will be owned at all times, and collectively, therefore, I think it'll be multi-decade period in which wealth accumulation will be nearly impossible. That's
Yeah.
my bias.
I absolutely agree with you. Like I seen some stats on online about comparing now to the Great Depression in 1929 and in 1930s, and how now it's almost more unaffordable compared to your yearly salary to get a house than even back in the Great Depression. Like
Well, I
it was
think so.
it was
Yeah.
more affordable. It was easier to get a car and a house back in the Great Depression than now, which is pretty crazy in my view. So what do you think happens to like what do you think the government will do if the US dollar collapses? Do you think they will be successful at bringing a central backed or central bank digital currency? And will the people accept it, Dave? Like, do you think Americans and Canadians would just accept a digital dollar?
I think they'll bring it. The word successful's too loaded for me.
Right.
It could be a catastrophe. So if they bring it as a catastrophe, do they bring it successfully? They brought it, so they're successful at that. Um, I, I just don't know. I watch Twitter feeds and stuff where some chick's in a car and she'll be going, I paid my rent, I paid this, I paid that, and now it's the 5th of the month and I've got $93 left.
Yeah.
I've never been in that situation, but I cannot imagine what it's like. Now, it's possible that she's paying $3 for a bottle of smart water still, right? Which means, first and foremost, it's not working. It's not making her smarter. Um, but there are people for which you just do the math and you go based on their current situation, it just doesn't pay the bills, period. And it's been a long time. We've had periods where people go unemployed. It's different when someone actually is fully employed and they're potentially homeless at the same time. That happens. I mean, that's
Yeah.
documented, but it could be documented in big numbers. I don't know. I think social unrest is potentially in our future.
So I just wanted to let everyone know about our new sponsor, Strategic Wealth Preservation. They are an international precious metals dealer and they are a secured storage provider that have headquarters in the Cayman Islands. The company owns and operates a large Class 3 UL rated vault in the Grand Caymans, and they offer other strategic locations as part of its global storage network. They specialize in the acquisition, secure storage, and liquidation of precious metals for individuals, companies, trusts, and wealth management professionals on behalf of their clients. So if you guys want to check them out, the link is in the description below. Yeah, I totally agree with you. You're seeing lots of social unrest already. You even see San Francisco and California with these horrible policies, and you like the streets are filled with homeless, and you can they raised the theft rate. I think it was like from $400 or $500 for it being a felony up to $900. So anything $900 and under, if you steal, it's not even a felony. It's not even a crime. They can't even arrest you. So with all these policies going in the wrong direction, like where do you see America headed? Like I know we talked about social unrest, we talked about gold and World War III coming out, but where's America ultimately headed in the next 5 to 10 years? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but where do you see it going?
Well, just like, um, in the 50s, with Bobby Darin and Annette Funicello and these Bobby socks and doing stupid things and hula hoops and stuff. We gave way to the 60s, which was just shockingly different, which they gave way to the 70s, which was awful. And they gave way to the
Right,
80s, which was shockingly different.
right.
And I think we're going through a shockingly different, awful period. So, some call it a fourth turning. That non-punishment for the petty crime argument. No one did this. They should have asked a psychologist about that because what they've done is they have shown the little guy, the looter, and I hesitate to denounce them if their lives are wretched and miserable. What else? Why not loot? I guess. But what they've shown them is that law and order is a bluff.
Right.
And so Ithaca, for example, is down from 86 cops to something like 38 cops. We supposedly have health emergency calls, which when it's in a place that's not safe, and we have those in Ithaca, they won't go there unless there's a cop, and there's not cops now.
Yeah.
So we literally won't send ambulances to places. And so the bluff was that if you break the law, we will catch you and you will pay.
Right.
And of course, selling drugs and things like that, and being a prostitute, they go, yeah, right. But now looting stores is in that category. And so I think San Francisco is DOA. I think San Francisco is in a tailspin that I don't know how they get out of unless somehow they put a massive police effort in there
Right.
and try to get control of it. But the looters have realized that hey, if we show up in numbers, there's nothing anyone can do.
Yeah.
And so why not do it? So now San Francisco's heading for being a zero retail city. And you can order stuff from Amazon, but zero retail city is not a healthy economy. And
Yeah.
I think It'll be a shithole. And I have a couple students who live in San Francisco now, and they say that what you see on the news, it's 10 times worse.
No
And
way.
that
Serious?
that that's a rare statement. Usually, you go, oh, it's nowhere near as bad
Yeah,
as
yeah,
they
yeah.
say, right?
True.
Now he says it's just awful. He walks through the shit to get to
Jesus.
work. He works at
Jeez.
Genentech. He's got a good job, and his apartments cost a fortune,
Right.
and so, yeah, I think, and the problem is, you can say, well, that's San Francisco, they boned it, but they've shown every other looter in every other city the same basic principle. It's like
Exactly.
raising children. It's a bluff. You tell them they're going to get in trouble. If they knew how much you cared about them, they would realize, no matter what, I'll be okay, and
Yeah.
therefore I don't have to listen to this clown, right? But you somehow convince them that they do.
Right.
And now we've convinced them that they don't.
Yeah, you nailed it. And earlier in the episode, you were talking about, you say multi-decade or multi-year bear market?
Decade.
Yeah, multi-decade bear market. So what do you think would go first as they keep raising interest rates? And Powell just said yesterday, as of October 19th, that they're still going to keep raising rates. What would break first? Would you see more regional banks in the United States, or maybe even a major bank collapse? Would you see commercial real estate go under first in this multi-decade bear market? What do you see collapsing first, or would it just be a contagion that just
Uh,
spreads?
so I don't. So arithmetic says that if what you can afford to pay for a house no longer buys what it used to buy, but rather half of what it used to buy, my arithmetic says housing has to cut in half.
Wow.
And housing right now is not cutting in half because there's a stickiness to it. It's a very tight market because the sellers won't sell and the buyers won't buy. That's
Right.
not a tight market. That's not a good market. That's a broken market. So when the buyers and sellers can't see eye to eye, it's broken. And
Yeah.
and so what I'm told in Ithaca, for example, is that the inventory's tight, but now the prices are coming down. So we've got a tight inventory dropping price situation. What a strange world.
Yeah, strange.
And that's just because the people won't sell, but the ones who have to sell are now having to sell for a much lower price.
Yeah.
And you say, well, then you don't sell. You say, well, life serves curveballs, and you have to sell. And if none of us ever have to sell, there wouldn't be realtors,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so you have realtors because people have to move, and so that's got to break. I mean, we have to have a real estate crisis in residential real estate. By the way, when the Barry Sternlichs and stuff start liquidating their portfolios because they bought residential real estate on leverage at fraction of a percent interest rates,
Wow.
and now all of a sudden that leverage is now biting them hard, and they're going to start liquidating their residential real estate. Then the inventory is going to flip now, and it's not going to be an inventory problem.
Yeah.
And then the prices are really going to plummet. And then we're going to have a crisis because they borrowed their money from the banks. And by the way, the fact that we dropped 4 gigantic regional banks and then it just stopped, no one has explained that to me.
Yeah.
You drop 4 regional banks and just no. You got Bank of America that supposedly is hundreds of billions of dollars in the red now,
Yeah.
which means the only reason they're not bankrupt and being absorbed is that they're not marking to market. They're just simply, saying, well, we don't see the losses. Do you see the losses? I don't see
They're
the losses, right?
unrealized. They're unrealized
They're
losses.
unrealized losses. And so that at some point they have to become realized. That's how
Wow.
the system works. And I don't think you can reinvent the system to make losses not realizable.
Yeah, just
It's one
poof.
of those I'm 98 years old, but I'm not going to die. I go, yeah, yes, you are.
No,
You
it's
know,
unrealized.
no, it's an unrealized death.
Oh, that's good. But yeah, you know what, Dave, it's such a huge pleasure having you come on to Wall Street Silver and talk about the whole economy and where you see America's future and the US dollar going, and even gold. And where can people contact you? Where can people find you, your social media, if they do want to talk to you?
I'm
If
at
you
David.
want to talk to them, if you don't want to talk to them.
I'm at David B. Collum on Twitter.
Okay.
My Twitter presence is obsessive. Um, and I write a year in review, but I'm having terrible time writing it this year because I chose topics that are so grisly that I'm having trouble getting emotionally prepared every
Oh
day
yeah,
to
yeah.
write, and I'm just not making good progress. And to give the readers a hint, you try writing about the global pedophilia networks and their influence on geopolitics.
Yeah.
It's
Good luck.
really not a cheerful subject, right? It's
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
fun
no.
subject.
Yeah, it's not a fun subject at all. But I really want to thank you again, Dave. It's such a huge pleasure. And then hopefully in the future, we'd love to have you back on within the next, hopefully, month or two, just to see as where's the economy going, because things are changing so fast.
Or where it went, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Awesome. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Dave.
Sounds good.